Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lysha and I'm the owner of Lysha Be Creative. In today's tutorial, we're going to be showing you how I created this bloom spring inspired brushstroke and floral design. So I'm going to walk you through the process of creating this cup and kind of show you the behind the scenes of what happens when I am creating new designs and just kind of playing with different designs in mind. So of course, everything will be listed and linked down in the description box. You could even find some discount codes. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Okay, so today I am starting with a 22-ounce tapered tumbler and I am going to be applying just a solid glitter coat here. I did spray paint this already pre-stripped cup with a coral color that I had in my stash of spray paints. And now we're going to go ahead and use Mod Podge to apply our glitter. Our glitter today is going to be Sun-Kissed Coral from my Asia Creations. That is linked down in the description box. So this is a finer glitter, and we're going to use this to be kind of our base. So this was a cup that I kind of just glittered on a whim because I had some extra cups and I was working and just wanted to create something new and fun. And so I wanted to start with a glittered base. And so I decided to just glitter this cup. I absolutely love this Sun-Kissed Coral color. It just screams spring to me, and I absolutely love kind of the shade of this like orangey but peachy looking color. It's a beautiful color, and if you do not have it in your stash, I definitely encourage you to grab this up. So we are going to do 2 coats of glitter on this cup to make sure we get a good solid base of that Sun-Kissed Coral color. So I'm going to dry my coat first, and then I will go in and brush off any of the excess glitter that is on the cup before I go in with my second coat of glitter here. So typically when I'm using Mod Podge, I do like to do 2 coats of glitter when I am doing, when I'm using Mod Podge as my adhesive. I find that I don't always get a good coverage of glitter on my first pass when I'm using Mod Podge. Unlike epoxy, where I typically can get a really good coat and coverage of my glitter, I do typically have to go back and do a second coat of glitter on my cups where I use Mod Podge as my adhesive. So we're going to go ahead and speed this process up, and we're going to put a second coat of glitter on this cup. Then when I'm done with this, I'll let this dry for anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour or so. I spray seal it if I'm going to be epoxying other cups when I epoxy this one. But if I'm just doing this cup and was just epoxying this cup singly, I don't typically seal my glitters or my cups that have one single color of glitter. So once I'm done with the glitter process and the glitter has dried, I will put this on the turner for 2 coats of epoxy, anywhere from 20 to 30 mLs for my 2 coats of epoxy. I like to use my KS Resin Liquidy Split, and then we can go ahead and move into the next step in the process. So now that my cup has been glittered and now sealed with epoxy, we're going to go ahead and add these florals. So I picked up these stickers from Hobby Lobby forever ago. I actually used them in a tutorial, or actually used them in a couple of other cups that I've done before. I want to say I've used them for a tutorial too, and I will link that if I can remember which one I use these for. But I really love these like daisy paisley looking florals that I picked up in the sticker area, like at the scrapbook section of any craft store. So I decided I wanted to do a floral base for this cup, even though I wasn't really sure kind of where I was going with the design. But I really loved these beautiful flowers that were they kind of just caught my eye as I was going through different vinyls and things that I had in my stash. And so I knew this was something I needed to add. So I'm just adding some of the larger florals that are here on the sticker sheet here, just kind of all over. I'm thinking that this is going to be kind of either a split or swirl cup at this point, and you're going to see that my design idea is going to very quickly change from one idea to another, but we are going to start with this floral base first and kind of just let the cup evolve. Sometimes it's fun to just kind of pick up a cup, glitter it, and kind of just let your mind and creativity kind of flourish as you go, and this is definitely one of the cups that definitely represents kind of my creative process as it happens. So once I get all of the flowers that I want to have on the cup applied, I do put this under one more coat of epoxy. Now at this point, this is where things get a little bit weird. So at first I thought that I was going to go with like this sort of slanted split cup design, and I had a really great idea to add some leaves and some like greenery to the cup using my Arteza paint markers that I have. I've used these for like tie-dye, and I thought it would be cute to add like the different petals and things were going absolutely fantastic. I then grabbed a white acrylic paint pen to like add some additional sort of greenery to the cup as well, and I really was kind of vibing with how this was going. So this is kind of a quick look at how it looked at this point in time. So things were going kind of well, and then things kind of turned in a different direction. So after I had applied the white paint pen, I thought it might be nice to enhance the green leaves with black acrylic paint pen, and I just hated it. I couldn't stand how this was looking, so I ended up scrapping that altogether and decided to do a half split look. So I'm keeping kind of about a 3-inch section on the front half that I've kind of taped off with my blue painter's tape. I've grabbed these beautiful floral decal sheets from Lysha Creations. You can find them on her website, and I will list them down in the description box down below. But I grabbed these and thought that these would be perfect to add to the back side of this cup where I had put the original stickers here. And we're going to use these to kind of make a very kind of busy floral design, if you will, on the back side. So I'm taking all of the both greenery that comes on this decal sheet, as well as sort of the bouquets and some of the single standalone flowers to kind of create like a busy background of different florals. I'm overlapping things, I'm covering a couple things up, and essentially what I'm trying to do is maximize the covering of this entire glitter backside of the cup here. So I love these decal sheets from Lysha Creations because it really does allow you to not have to worry about cutting and weeding or doing print and cut with your silhouette and Cricut and trying to find designs that work for you. These decal sheets, you literally can just cut and apply them directly to your cup. And because they're on a semi-transparent background, which means that they're printed on white ink, they are great to even use on your dark colored bases. So obviously in this case, I'm using a lighter color, so even transparent would show up on here, but it's perfect for when you want to maybe create a floral design or create a tumbler that is more of a dark base and be able to use these decal sheets as sort of your decals, so you don't have to worry about fighting with vinyl or weeding or any of that crazy nonsense stuff we do with our print and cut machines. So I'm just going to continue to layer the different florals on top of here. Again, my idea is just to continue to cover up all of the glitter as much as I can. I want some of the glitter to show, but really most of this backside, I do want to be just these beautiful florals and like this beautiful, almost like bouquet bunch of florals on the back side of this cup. So we're going to go ahead and finish sort of applying all these different decals, and then we'll switch over to doing what we're going to do with the front side of this cup. After I've placed all of my florals and I'm happy where everything looks, I'm going to remove my tape and replace it closer to the edges of those florals there. And then I went to Cricut and I found a font that I like, and I cut the word bloom sort of in a vertical look. And so we're going to apply this to that center section right at the front of the cup here. So I'm just going to use my transfer tape and get this lined up right in the center of like that 2 to 3 inch section I have on the front side of my cup here. And the idea here is that we're going to create a beautiful like peekaboo look with this word bloom. So you certainly didn't have to use the word bloom. You can use sort of anything you want, but I just thought that bloom really just spoke to kind of the floral and spring, the spring vibe that I was going for this cup. And again, as you guys saw, this is was definitely kind of a cup that was just ever evolving. And so at this point, I knew I was going to do a peekaboo, but I didn't even know kind of how I was going to do a peekaboo, like what color I was going to choose, if I was just going to use spray paint, if I was going to do maybe power wash. So you're literally watching the behind the scenes of how my mind works when I'm working through the creative process. Sometimes I have fantastic ideas and I'm able to see the cup through all the way to the end with no issues. And then there's cups like this where, you know, I kind of have to do a little bit of trial and error and scrapping certain things and then pivoting and moving into other directions with a cup design. So once I've gotten this applied, we are going to go ahead and turn this into a peekaboo, as I mentioned. And how we're going to do this is we're actually going to be using some acrylic paints. So I have 3 paints that kind of complemented the back colors. So I have a yellow, sort of like a teal green color and a pink. And I have some of my favorite brushes, which are the Wet n Wild makeup brushes that I grabbed right from the Dollar Tree. And so we're going to kind of create a brush stroke look over the front of this cup. So I have done brush strokes like tumblers in the past. I've never done it for my channel, but I have done them in the past. And I've actually never really cared for some of the brushstroke cups that I've created. And I'm in a mentorship group, and there was a guest who was doing a brushstroke cup, and she showed the easiest way I have ever seen to make the most beautiful brushstroke cups. And so this technique is all from Jesik over at, so that's Jessica over at Flair by Jesik. She is over on Instagram. I'll link her down in the description box, but she makes these beautiful, amazing brushstroke cups. And so she taught her technique in the mentorship group that I'm in. And I love every brushstroke cup now that I've created. So I definitely cannot take, credit for this brushstroke look, because she really was the one who showed me exactly how to make a brushstroke cup and make it look amazing and not look like sometimes a muddled hot mess like I've done in previous cups. So what I've done first is I've taken my Wet n Wild brush with the yellow and I've put that down in a few even strokes in different sections of this front section here. I then go and dry that section. So this is where I was feeling before. I wasn't letting things dry. I was just kind of going over them with other colors, and then it was just turning into a brown, black, hot mess. So I'm drying that, and then I went in with a second coat to make my yellow a little bit more vibrant, of course. And so I'm going to just repeat the process with the other colors. So the idea here is I am going to be covering up all of the Sun-Kissed Coral Orange color on this cup on the front side here, because I'm still going to be able to see it on the other sections of the cup. But I am taking my different acrylic paint colors and I am creating kind of single brush strokes along the cup and covering up as much of the orange with each brush stroke as I can. I definitely find that drying in between and adding a second coat to make the colors, the acrylic paint colors, stand out more really does make a difference, especially because acrylic paints typically can be a little bit more translucent, and so sometimes they don't look as vibrant when you just apply one coat. I definitely think that going in with that second coat really does make all of the difference. So once I'm done with this beautiful Caribbean blue teal color here, I'm going to dry that because now I'm done with the second coat of that. And now we're going to go ahead and go in with this sort of like, I think this is Diva Pink, the acrylic paint. These are all apple barrel paints. They're literally my go-to paints. You really don't need to break the bank when it comes to acrylic paints. My favorite is just going to Walmart or Hobby Lobby and getting like the $2 cheapy paints that you can grab right from the paint section. So we're going to go in with this final color here. And we're going to just cover up the rest of the orange that's there. And I'm also trying to make sure that I am covering up all of the letters on the decal in the middle here. So I do that with my final color, pink, making sure that I am covering up the entire word, that none of those sections I can see the blue stencil vinyl, because I want to make sure that this looks like a true peekaboo, meaning that I'm able to very clearly see the words when I'm done and make sure that kind of everything is covered up. So at this point, you'll see I have all of the orange glitter completely covered. I am going to go in with a second coat of the pink acrylic paint because I want to make sure that that is a little bit more vibrant than it is at this first coat and stage here. But this is a really easy kind of technique and design that I really was clearly making way more difficult than I needed to. So I definitely want to try this kind of all the way around the cup, maybe over glitter as sort of my base, but allowing some glitter to show. So maybe that's something I'll show or work through in another tutorial in the future, who knows, but definitely stay tuned for that. So we're going to go in with that second coat of the pink, of course. Then we're going to dry this and I'll be able to go ahead and remove the tape after I am done with the final coat of paint here. So after I've removed the tape, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. I think I let it sit for about an hour or so before I remove the decals here. I just wanted to make sure everything really dried well and that when I go to pick up the pieces and remove the stencil vinyl underneath the paint here, that I don't get any issues where it pulls things or it's too wet and it kind of makes a muddled mess. So I did wait about 30 to 40 minutes to let the paint really settle and dry before I go back and kind of peel off the vinyl that is underneath here. So now with the tape removed, let's go ahead and get over to removing the stencil vinyl that's underneath this beautiful brushstroke looking design here. Okay, so just with my weeding tool, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the stencil vinyl that's here very carefully, making sure that I don't scratch my acrylic paint because I don't want to have to go back and try to remove or touch up those areas. That can be kind of difficult to do. So as soon as I started removing that first letter, I was just absolutely in awe of how this turned out and looked. I couldn't believe how easy and how simple that brushstroke cup was to be able to put together, even just that small section there. So this did go go back on the turner for another coat of epoxy. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add just some vinyl work here to kind of make that front section stand out. So I have some extra vinyl lines that I used in previous, projects. This is just vinyl that I cut to be 0.08, I want to say, is typically my go-to. It's a really thin vinyl white line with just some white vinyl. And then I did go back into Cricut Design Space and I created an offset of the same word bloom that I had. And then I just layered the two and sliced it so that I had the outline of bloom to put over that center section. So the glitter still shows through, but the white vinyl all the way around this is really just going to make everything pop. So we're going to go ahead and speed up this section because I'm literally just going to apply each letter here kind of one by one. I found that to be easiest versus trying to do the whole section. I always feel like I get things a little bit misaligned when I'm doing kind of a vertical look. So I decided to just do it one letter at a time here. But I'm really happy with how this kind of turned out. It turned out better than I expected. And I thought this was just a fun way to show you guys that not everything that I put together for a tutorial is sort of thought out. Sometimes I am just kind of winging it, if you will, and just trying to try new fun things, new designs, kind of whatever is kind of inspiring me, but also showing you that a lot of times when I am working on projects and tutorials, that not everything works out the first time. And there are a lot of times where even I myself have to kind of pivot and change directions in order to complete a cup or design, and that's okay. You kind of just got to let your creativity be, and definitely don't get discouraged when you feel like things aren't going in the direction you want. Pivot, make those kind of changes and change directions, and I promise you'll create something absolutely amazing and beautiful. So as always, after I was done with the vinyl work, this went back on the turner for 2 final coats of epoxy, and here is the final look of that cup. So I am absolutely in awe of how this turned out. It definitely was a work in progress, and I am thrilled to see the final result. I hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!